Hello, and welcome to The Powers in You. Today's special guest is USA Team Ultra and Mountain Runner, Dani Moreno. Welcome, Dani.
Good. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, how's the air quality up in Santa Barbara?
It's actually really nice today. We had blue skies yesterday and blue skies today, so it's been really nice.
I know, isn't that amazing? Have you been running through the smoke and all of that?
Well, I took an impromptu trip to Utah to escape the smoke for a couple of days, so that was really nice. And then, yeah, I ran really lightly. We have kind of a microclimate here in Santa Barbara that keeps most of the smoke out. So the score, like on the range, wasn't too bad.
So you run for the USA team. Can you tell me about that?
Yeah, definitely. So I'm sponsored by Hoka One One, which is a shoe company, and I'm sponsored by Rabbit, which is an apparel company, and I have a couple nutrition sponsors as well. But I have made the USA team 4 times now in my career. And basically, if a sport isn't in the Olympics, they still have a team USA that competes against other countries in the world, and we have our own world championships. So I've done it for ultra running and mountain running are the USA teams that I've made.
And so the Olympics are going to be when now? In another 4 years, we have to wait? They're going to be here, aren't they?
So I think what they did, at least from my understanding, is the Olympics are going to be next year, and then the following years are going to stay on schedule. So it might be that the gap between the next Olympics is only 3 years, but I would need to be fact checked on that. For sure, the Olympics got pushed to next year, though.
Oh, okay. So that's a good thing. And when do they foresee your particular sport?
Mountain running, it will be, they say potentially in 2024 is what they're looking to do. The thing with mountain running is it encapsulates a wide variety of events, so like if you just say track and field, obviously that entails all the events that go within it. So I think what they need to figure out is with mountain running where they want to focus that energy on. I think it would probably be like a 50K or 50-mile because there's no events like that in the Olympics right now. Yeah.
Wow. Wow. Yeah. And I've been watching you. And of course, I've known you since you've been in high school. You know,
Yeah.
you Nikki ran track, my daughter. She ran, I think one time she ran with you, and that was at the Arcadia. There was a four,
Oh,
was
yeah.
4x4. Remember that? Yeah. You've always been this amazing runner. And do you run like in like a middle school?
Yeah, I actually I ran in elementary school. I kind of think of it as a very interesting beginning moment. So they had, I think it was called the Carnival of Champions, which they did for 4th and 5th graders. Yeah. And I wasn't a very fast sprinter, which was so odd for me, right? Because we would do like the jogathons, where you run as many laps as possible. And I'd always win that, but I've never been a fast sprinter. And I remember taking the baton and getting passed by everyone and feeling embarrassed, which was odd. And so, but my parents were like, "You did so great," and everyone's excited. So it's just interesting to think back to that moment that I already expected so much of myself, and seeing that being a common thread, even to now being a professional, just expecting a lot, like I don't like being content with things. Yeah, my mom has made it a point to me multiple times. She's like, we didn't tell you to be like to chase perfection. Like we wanted good grades and stuff. But she's like, that always came from like you internally, which I found interesting.
So that's what drives you then.
Yeah, I think it's a little different now. I think once you experience, once you come to terms that perfection isn't attainable, like true perfection, and you get pushed down enough of times and you miss, that A enough of times, you start to be a little bit more grounded and humble in a way. But yeah, there's that strain of being non-complacent and being the best that I can be. So I think before I used to be obsessed with being just the best, you know? And now it's just like, okay, whatever I can give that I know is my 100% on that day. I think that's how that common theme has kind of changed as I've matured or gotten older.
So in high school, you were winning. You were doing cross country, right? And
Yeah, I did cross country and track.
and then you went to Santa Barbara, right? UC Santa Barbara, and you did track for them,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so you just became like this track star, like this superstar, and you even did an extra semester or something in
Yeah, I ended up staying an extra year because the 2014 Olympics were going to be happening, and I was on a good track to try and run at least the trials, which is where you try out to be on the Olympic team, and there is even a certain standard to get into that group. But then unfortunately I got injured, which caused an interesting, I don't want to say like mental lapse, but mental growing moment for me that I had chosen to put my life on hold, maybe is the word or the way to kind of see it, to pursue this athletic dream. And then I came up really short, not just kind of short, but like really short. I didn't even train that most of that year. So yeah, it was an interesting moment for me, definitely, to do that extra year.
and when you get injured for an athlete, that's the worst thing and the most huge thing that you can have happen to you. How did you handle that and overcome that?
Yeah, it was interesting because in high school I kind of got injured here and there, but for some reason I was able to come back really quickly. I think probably I got injured all my freshman year, injured all my sophomore year. Junior year was finally when I didn't get injured, and then that's when the thought of, okay, we're gonna stay an extra year came about. And then I was injured my fourth and fifth year, and it was really hard. Like basically, like the biggest lessons that I learned was patience and longevity. You know, like when you are between the ages of 14 and 25, and it's a decade of filled with many, many lessons, you just feel like everything is life or death. Like this is the end. This is the end. Like I'm never gonna do this. You know, everything is over dramatized, and you see that with girls and guys. You know, and I just learned to be, by the time my fifth year came around, it's like the understanding that those moments weren't as life defining as I thought they were, and that they are really just smaller snippets in a bigger journey. And yeah, just learning to be more patient with myself, because I always rushed back, you know, because I'm like, well, like if I'm not running, who am I? You know, like I need to produce these results that I've always done. And it was interesting because also in high school I did a lot of stuff. Like I did vocal ensemble and soccer, and I did all these things. And so I think when I got injured, I was able to fill my time with other stuff. Whereas in college, it was just running in school, and so it felt like I couldn't be myself when I was injured.
Right.
Um, so yeah, it was just an interesting time, and I definitely learned a lot from it.
You said something interesting. You've met people all over the world because you've run all over the world. Tell me about like Italy. Was that your first year with Team USA in Italy, or?
Yeah, that was my first year. I'm trying to remember. No, I'd gone to Switzerland before that. Like it's my first international race. Yeah, I've been very blessed to see really unique parts of the world, and parts of the world in unique parts of the world, and parts of the world in unique ways, in the sense that like they build these mountain courses, you know, through these kind of like lore type of areas that are special to that specific region, that hold a lot of historic value. And it's cool to kind of just travel the countryside through that. And Europe has great fans when it comes to mountain running. Like they see mountain running almost like we see basketball or baseball. And so they'll just comes out, yeah, they'll come out in thousands to come watch these races, and it's cool to see that.
Yeah, I saw pictures. Your mom showed pictures, and like there's people everywhere, and I'm like, oh my god,
In
yeah.
the safest places too, they'll be up in, you know, these little tiny mountainsides cheering you on. So it's really cool. As far as what I've learned from my travels, it's just that this might be kind of commonplace knowledge for people that travel, but we're more similar than we are different. People are all kind of chasing the same things. If you have a shared passion, like that alone, you feel so connected to someone, especially something as what's called primitive as running, you know, where you're using your body and your mind to push you. It's just been cool. Even asking questions of my competitors of how they approach things and training and stuff like that. So it's been really awesome.
So it's been a very unified experience for you. What does training look like for you? Like a typical day of getting ready for a race or a week, what does that look like?
Normal week, like 70 to 80 miles a week. So I'm running at least for an hour every day, weights twice a week, and then all the in-betweens, you know, like physical therapy, massages, just anything to upkeep my body, because it's basically like I'm doing microscopic tearing down of my body until right before a race, and I let it recover and freshen up, and then could take off, you know. And the lowest parts of my training are normally the taper week leading up into the race.
Okay.
And that's when I'll like bike a little more or something like that. And even those weeks, it's really hard to sleep because I have so much energy. So I guess the real question is like, where did I get all this energy? I don't know.
I think it's conditioning for so many years.
Yeah.
What is your diet like? Are you vegetarian, vegan? Are you getting enough protein, or how does that work?
Yeah, I would say protein is probably my number one caloric type of intake. I eat a lot of protein just because I'm breaking my body down so much. I need to repair it. That's something that I've learned probably in the last couple years more so than when I was in college. Like looking back, I thought I was eating well, but I definitely wasn't eating enough protein for what I was doing. But it's I would say it's mainly a Mediterranean type of diet, like a lot of fatty things like fish and olive oil and cheeses and stuff like that, and then lots of vegetables.
So you do eat dairy. You do
Yeah,
eat dairy.
I do eat dairy just because my bones need the calcium, and it's a great
Yeah.
source of that, at least for me. Like my body does well with it.
You know, you're super dedicated. And how does that reflect on your relationships, you know, like dating and things like, because you're not married, you're single. And how has that affected your relationships?
Um, it's it's really helped me to figure out who my people are in a way. Like I definitely have had, so I am dating someone. I have my boyfriend right now, and we've been dating for about 3 years. And I had like previous relationships before, and what I would realize is now looking back at it, whenever running started being a conversation about like how much I was running and stuff, that's usually when I started to like tune out of the relationship, subconsciously, you know. And now dating Mike, who's my boyfriend, I just don't know how I was in those other relationships before, because it was just a constant like make a decision was always put on me, you know, not always directly, but in a way it's like, oh, you're going to choose running over this, you're going to choose running over this. And they didn't see the bigger picture of what it did for me, and the placeholder that it had in my life at whatever point that was. And so it's just been so cool, and I just feel so grateful to have Mike. Like he has never made me feel guilty for having running. If anything, like he makes it feel extra empowered. Like he wants to help me, and he wants to make sure that he knows that he's willing to make even sacrifices on his own end to make sure that I can get a run in, you know, or like if we're going to go visit his family, he's like, oh, what run do you have tomorrow? And so he sees how important it is to me, and it's cool to see that reciprocated, because in past relationships I felt like I would give to whatever their passion was, but like me with my passion was almost like looked down upon in a way. And then the same with friends too, like looking back at, you know, some friend relationships, because, you know, those come and go too. The understanding and respect that I have from my current friend base is really awesome. You know, I can go hang out with friends and leave at 9:30 or 10 p.m., right? Even though the crowd is still going, not right now, but like
Yeah.
pre-COVID, and them be stoked for me to be like, oh yeah, you're running tomorrow? Like how far? I can never run that far, you know, just kind of that banter. Whereas there was definitely relationships I had before where they would make me feel guilty. It's like, oh, you're leaving? Like, just stay for another drink, just stay for this. And you just come to realize how tiring those relationships are, you know, to play that game, to feel like you have to kind of like reshape what it is that you're pursuing in order to fit this mold that you actually don't fit or don't want to fit in. So it's been interesting. But yeah, I'm at a place where like my partner is like going to be my partner from now on, and my friends are just great about it too.
And that's where the relationships get tested, because when it becomes, people say, oh, I love you, but I need you to be this way for me. And when you see that, it's, well, they love themselves more. If they really love me, they would support me. And so gosh, you just amaze me at how intuitive and brilliant you are, you know. And I don't want to say at your age, but I'm sorry, when I was, how old are you? 28?
Yeah.
Yeah, at 28, I was like, I didn't even know who I was. I was like, oh my God. So to see you as, you know, not only talented, but you've always been this grounded, wonderful girl. And I have so much respect for you. You know, I have to tell this story because this really, it's one of the definitions of who you are, I think. Back in the days of high school, and I was working in that the snack shack or whatever it was, and worked all day while you guys were having your meet. And you took the time, all out of all the girls, how many girls were there? 80 girls or something running. You, and you alone, took the time to come over and thank me, which was totally unexpected. You said, thank you, Leora, for doing this. I really appreciate it. And I was so floored, because at that age, most young kids they're all me oriented, you know, they're thinking about themselves, but you took the time. And so talk about empathetic. I mean, that was such a character building moment for me, with you, thinking about you, and who, you know, a testament to your character, to how you were brought up. But you were the only girl that came and said thank you, only kid out of all the boys too, and everything. And that was amazing. And that was a testament to who you are, Dani. You know, I've seen you grow up, and I've always been super, you know, proud of you, you know, just knowing you. And it sounds like you have definitely connected to many powers in yourself. The show is about the powers in you. And it's, for me, it's about everybody has a superpower. Everybody has the capability to connect to their power. What is your superpower, and how did you connect to that?
Yeah, I would say I would probably say it's empathy more than anything. Something that kept coming up between like people that are really close to me is they're like, you're so empathetic to other people. You can almost with ease put yourself in other people's shoes and like help them to not be hard on themselves, yet you're so hard on yourself. And just having that been told to me, you know, a couple of times, more than a couple of times, by people that I love and trust, and like I know me, it just got me to the point to that point that I kind of said at the beginning of this, is that like as long as I give my best on that day, that should be the reward for me, not this overall perfection, just giving my best. And so that has been a cool superpower to have, and it's been cool in strengthening my relationships with people too, like being able to see from their perspective and then being empathetic towards myself, consciously and subconsciously.
So in closing, what would you like to say to the viewers about, obtaining goals and not giving up? And what do you have to say about that? Can you?
Yeah, that's a hard question. um, with running, I don't know, with whatever your passion is, just realizing that it's not going to be easy. Like if it's easy, it's not rewarding. I probably have had more than a handful of really hard days with running. Even that quick stint after college where I just wanted nothing to do with it, like thought I was never going to run again, like to the sense of competitiveness. And I had a lot of people in my ear thinking that they knew what was best for me either way, either pushing me to continue to run or pushing me to stop running. And it really took me really learning who I was and what I wanted. Maybe not learning, but realizing like who I was with running and who I was without running. So if you have a passion like that, whether it's running or skiing or biking, it doesn't even have to be something athletic. It's like just giving yourself enough patience and kindness to figure out, like, is this a journey I want to pursue, despite everything that's going to come with it, the good and the bad? Am I going to at the end think that it was worth it? And if the answer is yes, then it's something that you should continue doing. But if you think even just one bad day is going to put you out of it, then I wouldn't. Like it doesn't sound like it's something that you should keep doing, and that you should find out what is it that you should be doing.
Thank you for being here. I wish you good luck in your future meets, and please let us know. Maybe you can come back when you know your schedule for next year.
No, I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, and good luck to you, and good luck to Team USA, and I wish you nothing but success.
Thanks, Leora. Appreciate it.